Of course I had to play Girls Just Want to Have Fun by Cyndi Lauper. What else could I play? I mean, let's think about it, ladies and gentlemen. 1985 was a hot year for that type of music, the Rock and Wrestling Connection, and the WWE Ladies Champion at that time, and just some great stuff. And we are very honored and very proud to have her on the phone right now. She's a great gal. We got a chance to meet a couple years ago at the Cauliflower Alley Club. She was a recipient of the Art Abrams Lifetime Achievement Award for the CAC. She was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame back in 2010 right here in Phoenix, Arizona. And I'll tell you, I thought pigs would have flown before I saw Wendi Richter be involved in a WWE program anytime again. But we'll talk about all that right here on Off the Top Rope Radio. Brian Shank back with you here once again. And let's introduce the lovely, the vivacious, the multi-talented and athletic. She is a former WWE Ladies Champion, Wendi Richter. Hello, Wendi. How you doing?
Hey, it's great to be on your radio program.
Well,
I was listening to your intro, and you failed to mention the Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame.
Of course, I should have said that. Please do it. Please do it for me, would you please? Please go ahead and tell us about that.
Well, the Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame is in upstate New York.
Mm-hmm.
They nominate people from different categories, and I was nominated for the Ladies Hall of Fame Award in 2012.
Great choice.
It was a great honor to be nominated by my peers.
Well, that's great. And, that's a wonderful thing.
You mentioned that you thought pigs would fly before I was associated with WWE. I really have no hard feelings towards them, or anyone else for that matter. And that also was a great honor, and to be able to credit Cyndi Lauper was a wonderful thing, because she's such a good person.
She is.
I can't tell you how impressed I am with her and what she's done to help the homeless people and bring awareness to their plight.
She's a wonderful person. There's no doubt about that. And if you're a Cyndi Lauper fan or know anything about her, I mean, she's done a lot for other people. And obviously, she was a big integral part of your career, too, at that time, because the Rock and Wrestling Connection at that time was huge. I mean, MTV was the biggest thing since sliced bread. Wendi Richter, Cyndi Lauper. I mean, you talked about Hulk Hogan and Roddy Piper, the war to settle the score. I mean, so many things going on. And the reason why I mentioned about saying pigs fly before I'd see you back in there, because and we'll talk about it, but, you know, there was a lot of interesting things that happened to you in your career back with the Spider Lady, Miss Fabulous Moolah. We'll talk about that in a few moments here, but that's kind of the reason why I said that. But all that aside, it was great seeing you accept the award in 2010 in the WWE to be into the Hall of Fame and to be inducted into the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, like you mentioned, in New York, and CAC Lifetime Achievement Award at the CAC, the Cauliflower Alley Club. All the people in attendance were so pleased to see you, and that was a hell of a year that year in 2012. So a lot of things to talk about. You were a tremendous athlete back in the day. I understand that you, like the late, great Kerry Von Erich, that you were pretty good at the discus at one point in your life.
Yes. Well, I was on the track team. I ran both cross country and the mile relay, through the discus and the shot put.
Wow. Tremendous.
I really enjoyed track and volleyball. I was on the volleyball team, so I was, and used to professional rodeo and show at quarter horse shows.
Wow.
So and even now I'm on the sheriff's posse.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, I'm still an athlete.
That's awesome. Well, I think once an athlete, always an athlete. And, you know, he talked about volleyball. I believe I read somewhere or heard somewhere that you actually went 15 serves in a row to win a game at one point in your career. Is that correct?
No. Only once. Yes, that happened.
Wow. That's tremendous. Now, do you still find yourself, playing volleyball? Are you still keeping active in the sports that you love? I mean, do you still run? Do you still do anything like that, or?
Well, right now I have 7 horses.
Wow.
And so I'm keeping all those exercised and working with them. 2 of them are registered Tennessee walking horses, and the other 5, one's a registered saddlebred, but 4 of them were rescued from slaughter. So that's what I'm involved in now, is rescuing horses and bringing awareness to what's happening to our American horses. Over 200,000 American horses are shipped to Mexico and Canada to be slaughtered brutally.
Awful.
I mean, they're so conscious when they're being dismembered. That's how barbaric it is.
That's disgusting. And, you know, I'm a big animal lover and someone who believes in animal rights.
Everyone go online and press a button sending a complaint to your senator and congressman saying that you oppose horse slaughter. They were trying to pass it here in the United States. It would have been a little more humane, but these horses weren't raised to be slaughtered. They're given toxic injections annually and dewormers. All these things were not intended for human, to be eating their meat, and yet they're doing it.
That's horrible.
And it's just horrible. It really is.
That is awful. I don't ever like to try to make a down emotional interview on that, but I'm glad you brought that to attention because, like you said, please get involved in this if you can anyway, because that is absolutely barbaric, and I just can't imagine even thinking of that actually happening or seeing it or knowing that it happens in this country or whatever else in other countries as well. I mean, but you know what? The 7 that you do have, I'm sure you give them lots of love and that you're always happy to be out there with them. And with 7 horses, I don't think you have a lot of time to be doing anything else like running around and playing volleyball, do you?
Well, you know what? I'm wrestling them horses because not only am I rehabbing them, but some of them have very bad habits and some of them are dangerous.
Is that right?
So be on the guard and just let them know that to bite and kick and charge someone is not appropriate.
Yeah.
Some of them I have to manhandle, but they only weigh 1,000 to 1,200 pounds. I can handle it.
Sheesh. Yeah, I'm glad you can because I think I'd be a little afraid to go in there with that. I love horses, but I get a little nervous around them because they are such strong and beautiful creatures, that's for sure. Kind of intimidating to me, but we're talking to Wendi Richter right here on Off the Top Rope Radio. Brian Shank hanging with you here on KQCK Radio. Heard exclusively and worldwide on KQCK.com, and I'm very honored to have you on the show. We met a couple years ago at the Cauliflower Alley Club. Me, you, and Robin Smith and Judy Martin were all hanging out for a while there and having a drink at the Fridays right down there in the Gold Coast Hotel Casino. And Stone Cold Steve Austin and Ricky Steamboat also got awards that night, which was amazing. Lou Thez Award went to Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, and Stone Cold Steve Austin, oh, hell yeah, he got the Iron Mike Mazurki Award. So that was a very special 2012 at the CAC, and I know a lot of fans and your peers were there. How did that feel for you to get that CAC Award for a lifetime achievement?
I can't describe how honored I was by it because after I left the WWE, I did wrestle, but I was not in the spotlight like I was with them.
Right.
And I was going to college. It took me 13 years to get a master's degree because I was working full-time and going to school at night and on the weekends. But what I learned through wrestling, the determination and just sticking to your guns to achieve a goal. I applied that to going to college because I didn't even start college till I was 30, and it was difficult.
Oh, sure.
I'm teenagers sitting beside me that right out of high school, and but I applied myself, and I'm doing far better than I ever did in wrestling.
Nice.
I loved wrestling, and I never thought of wrestling as work. And when I accepted the Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame award, I made this statement, which wasn't mine, but if you love what you're doing, you'll never have to work a day in your life.
There you go.
And that's how I felt about wrestling. And it's actually how I feel about occupational therapy, which is what I'm doing right now.
Yep.
I love what I'm doing, and I joke around that, I put people in the hospital for 25 years, and now I'm helping them get out and stay out.
I like it. Do a lot of people recognize you out there in that area where you live? I mean, do people come up to you and say, hey, aren't you Wendi Richter? I mean, do you still have that type of appeal to people who are the old school devoted wrestling fans?
You know what? When I'm doing occupational therapy, I have my hair back.
Yeah.
I'm dressed very conservative and professional, and I'm wearing a white lab coat, so not many people recognize me. Now, if I had on my casual clothes and looked the part of wrestling, a little flamboyant, then probably so. But in my occupational therapy attire, not many people would know.
I got you. All right, let's break right into it here, Wendi, because I know a lot of people associate, not only you just having such a great run in the business and just you were at the right place at the right time. I mean, the 80s were a tremendous, tremendous time for the World Wrestling Federation back in the day. I mean, yourself, Judy Martin, Leilani Kai, Fabulous Moolah, Velvet McIntyre. I mean, there was so many great ladies wrestlers out there. And I think that to compare them to today's ladies wrestlers, I just don't think that there's a lot of comparison to me. I just don't. I don't have the appreciation today like I did back then, and I'm not trying to damn anybody who's out there wrestling now as a female. I think what they do is a lot of work and a lot of talent involved. But I just think that back then it just seemed like it was more of a wrestling bout, and you were more kind of similar to what the men were doing inside the ring as well. I think that anytime you had Moolah inside the ring or Judy Martin or Rockin' Robin or whoever else, it was a pretty special time in the 80s for you to be where you were with the then WWF.
Well, I think one reason is that ladies today are dressing like, I don't know, strippers. I don't know a better word for it, but
that's okay.
They're projecting a different image. They're trying to out-sexy each other, and in my opinion, that's not what wrestling's about. I know promoters want to put, quote, asses in the seats. I hope I can say that word. That's
sure.
not my
That's fine. You can say that. No, you can say
that's what they say.
Uh-huh.
But, I think that if the ladies would leave a little to the imagination, I think that's appealing, rather than just, people wearing thongs and bikinis and things like that, I always try to be a role model for the young people, for children, and it was family oriented, and I think that for wrestling, it needs to be that way. I don't know, maybe I'm old fashioned in that respect. I am a Christian, and I never felt right letting it all hang out. I think there's a place for that in the privacy of your home, but in a sport, you don't see other sports doing that. I mean, wearing bikinis and while they're competing. Except bodybuilding, but those ladies don't look very sexy to me.
Well, maybe ladies volleyball, but I think that kind of goes hand in hand when you're on the beach. I mean, it makes sense. That's the attire you would wear. That's the attire you would wear on the beach. But I totally agree with what you're saying. And I mean, and taking nothing away for how nice you looked in your wrestling attire with the one piece, leotard. And I always, tease Robin because, she's a good friend of mine. I say, I had such a crush on you back then. And Wendi, Richter, you guys were such, I was a 14, 15-year-old kid watching ladies wrestle. I was like, man, these girls are darn good looking and they're beating each other up. What else?
Well, I'm older than you.
Well, you're gonna be. Well, we won't talk age. We'll just leave that alone. But no, let's move on a little bit here because I know a lot of people will want to hear about this, and let's talk about what happened in 1985. You won the championship back from Leilani Kai at the inaugural WrestleMania right there in New York. You were scheduled to defend the championship later that year in November against somebody named the Spider Lady. Now, before we go any further, did you know anything about your opponent being the Spider Lady prior to the match? Did you know that that's who you were going to wrestle, or are you assuming it was going to be somebody else or even Moolah herself? I mean, did you have any idea what you were getting into at that moment?
Well, she didn't look like the Spider Lady when I saw her, but I couldn't tell who it was.
So you didn't even know who you were wrestling before you got inside the ring is what you're telling me?
Yeah.
Is that right? Okay. All right. So but now with us knowing that and you knowing that, going inside the ring, what was supposed to happen? Because obviously, before the matches, there's a predetermined person who's going to get the victory and whatnot. What did you know before getting ready to lock up with that person? Did you have any idea what was supposed to happen?
What did you just say?
Oh, I'm sorry, you broke. I was saying is that, usually when you're going inside I should say pretty much every time you go inside the ring you pretty much have an idea who's going to go over and everything else. Did you have any idea what was going to happen since you just said what you said?
Well, whenever I was in the ring, I had a pretty good idea that I was going to win because I have a very positive attitude. If you go into anything thinking that you're not going to succeed, you're not going to succeed.
But what I'm saying is that obviously you knew that, someone has to win, someone has to lose, and that's predetermined before the match was going to take place at that time. Did you have any idea what was going to happen once you got inside the ring itself?
Well, I don't think I'd have gotten the ring if I'd have known what was going to happen.
Yeah. Well, I just want to make sure because a lot of people said, well, it was this and it was that. So it was kind of an odd match. I mean, the referee was in it, obviously. It was a 1, 2, 3. The title changed hands. What was your initial reaction immediately after that happened? What did you first think? What went through your mind?
Well, I was horrified, number one, and I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe my shoulders weren't pinned, and I couldn't believe I was given a fast count, and I couldn't believe that no one else saw that. That I was like, I was wronged.
Yeah.
But you know what? What I had come to realize is only God can open doors, and only God can close doors. And God did not want me in that environment. I was surrounded by homosexuals, people on drugs, people dying right and left, overdosing, just sin completely. And I had to get saved.
I see.
When I left that. And after I left, I went to college. That's when I got my degree, is after wrestling.
Right.
So I'm so glad I got away from it in time. I can't tell you how blessed I am. So I have no hard feelings about it, none.
Okay.
On the contrary, I couldn't be more happy that I got out when I did.
There was also reports and thoughts and stuff like that you didn't speak to Moolah for the rest of your life or the rest of her life or whatever. Did you ever make amends with her on a personal level or whatever?
No, but I wish I didn't know she had died when she died. Because the WWE contacted me a year before I was inducted in the Hall of Fame, and they asked me would I be in a battle royal. And I asked him, was Moolah going to be in it? Because if she was, I'd do it for free. And that's when they told me she had died like 3 years before.
Wow, you didn't even know that she passed away.
I wish, if I had it to do over again, I would go out of my way. And even though I never wronged her, I was always on the up and up.
Right.
I always took the high road.
Well,
but,
yeah.
I could have done things differently if I'd have known. I think she died unexpectedly.
Yeah, I mean, I know there was a lot of speculation about what actually happened if she was sick and whatnot or whatever. But yeah, it's kind of unfortunate too that maybe you didn't get a chance to say your piece or whatever. And I think it kind of reminds a lot of people what Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior just recently went through when the Ultimate Warrior passed away just a few days after WrestleMania in New Orleans. And, I guess that's something that, you have to look back on sometimes and whatever else. But like you said a moment ago in your interview, you said, I don't have any ill will towards anybody. I don't have any hatred or whatnot. Life moves on, right?
I had nothing to ask her for forgiveness from. I mean, she should have asked me, but I guess because of the age difference, she was jealous. I really don't know why she was so against me. But I think she oppressed a lot of women's wrestling for decades.
Yes. Yeah. Now, after the match was over and you went back to the back, did you just basically leave right then and there? I mean, was there any kind of confrontation?
Well, I asked Vince McMahon. I probably would have kicked his ass that day. I don't know. I might have even killed him.
Wow.
At that point,
wow.
Barehanded.
Really?
But they wouldn't. They wouldn't bring him to me, and so I picked up my wrestling bag. I left in my wrestling tights. So
you did.
And took a cab in my tights to the airport and went back where I lived.
I'll be done.
And that was it.
That's interesting because, that happened not too long, about 12 years after that. It happened with Bret Hart. And Shawn Michaels, they obviously called what happened with you and Fabulous Moolah the original screw job, as they say. So I'm glad you shed some light on that, and I'm glad you told your story. I know that, obviously you probably get asked that quite a bit when people are talking with you on a, level like this. But, I know you had a great career, and you talked about moving on with your life, and I'm glad that you did, and I'm glad that you found something that you really enjoy. And like you said a minute ago, if you're not, if you're doing something you totally love in this world, it's not work.
That's true.
Yeah. But you did.
I can't. How happy I am whenever I think about what I went through in wrestling. I just think I'm so blessed now. I'm just so blessed. I'm so happy I have an education, because nobody can take that away from me.
Right. No.
And so it's so sad when I hear of wrestlers that they're destitute and they have no job, or they can barely make it, or they're not making it, and it's just so sad, because everyone could go to school and do something if you would apply yourself. So I'm just so happy I did.
That's
that
awesome.
I didn't wait too late. I can't tell you how blessed I feel. Even whenever I did any spots after that with the WWE, I thought to myself, oh, I am so happy I have a job.
Cool.
A job, and that I went to school.
Well, and you got to do a lot of things that a lot of people would be, giving their left arm to do, and that's be involved in the World Wrestling Entertainment product and to get a chance to go out there and do what they would love to do. You had that opportunity, and that's a great thing. But then you also got to do what you want to do with your horses and with everything else and your therapy and whatnot. That's a tremendous story for someone who's had a pretty fulfilled life. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
And the saga continues.
It sure does. Let's talk a little bit here. We got about another 3 or 4 minutes here in the interview. I remember growing up, and I used to watch on CBS, Hulk Hogan's Rockin' Wrestling, which was real famous in the day, and they had voices of Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant and Junkyard Dog and Tito Santana and Jimmy Snuka and Fabulous Moolah and Roddy Piper and Big John Studd. And I remember they had Wendi Richter. What did you think about the person that portrayed your voice in that animated series?
I was impressed, because they kind of captured my character and integrity.
Yeah.
That, so I was happy that I wasn't a sex idol only, that they actually captured some of my personality, and I could see myself doing some of those things.
It was a pretty cheesy cartoon, but I think that's what made it what it was. All the live segments they had in between with the vignettes of Mean Gene talking to somebody or whatever else. But that's a special thing. You either got it or you didn't, and that was some fun stuff. And I like that. Now, let me go ahead before we go. I always kind of ask 5 quick questions of all the interviews that we do here, and this is kind of fun. This is just kind of like the top of your head thing. So I'm going to ask you a question, and just the first thing that comes to your head, just a quick answer. Go ahead and give that to me, okay?
Okay,
here we go. If I was going to the electric chair and I had one last meal, I would order...
Oh, boy. I think I'd be on my knees praying to God to make sure. I mean, I'm quite sure I'm going to heaven, but I don't know if I'd want to eat. I'd be on my knees just praying, extra praying, that I go to heaven, because I sure don't want to go to the other place. Someone told me once, why would I want to go to heaven? All my friends are in hell. And I said, well, I'll make new friends.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm not going to hell. So I wouldn't even want to eat. I'd be on my knees praying. I wouldn't have time to eat.
I like that answer. That's the first person ever answered like that. I think that's very, very awesome and a
yes.
very honest answer.
I'd be praying in tongues and dancing and everything.
I'd like another helping of divinity, please. That's great stuff. I like that. Okay, let's move on to the next one.
I'd be fasting and in prayer. I wouldn't be thinking about eating.
That's funny. That's a good answer. I like it. Okay, if I had 10 minutes to spend with anybody living or dead, that person would be
Jesus.
That's a good answer. We've had that before too. I like it. What would you say to Jesus if he was here? Say you had one thing to say to Jesus, just one thing, whether a question or a comment, one thing. What would that be?
I would thank him so much for dying on the cross for my sins.
Nice.
I would thank him so much that I'm just in such awe of his sovereignness and his grace.
I like it. Those are honest answers, and I'm very happy that you are saying what you're saying. That means you're speaking from the heart. Thank you for sharing that with us. Okay, here we go. To me, the greatest invention that ever was invented is...
Oh. Well, living in Florida, I sure like air conditioning.
Yeah, Arizona too. Let me tell you.
Yeah, really like air conditioning.
The air conditioning. I love it. I love it. Okay. Okay, number 4. If I had a chance to be an actress on any... Are you there? Whoop. Are you still there?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. If I had a chance to be an actress on any TV show, present or way back in the day, I would have loved to have been this character.
Gee, I don't know. You know, I don't watch that much television. I really liked the John Wayne westerns. Maybe John Wayne playing Rooster Cogburn.
Ooh, good answer. Good answer. That is cool.
Because I always loved horses, so I'd have to be John Wayne.
I like it. It's a movie, but yeah, he's had I think 200 and something movies he made, or 100 and a lot. He made a lot of movies. So you say Rooster Cogburn, John Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. I like it. Okay, here we go. Last question for you, Wendy. The weirdest and oddest thing that anybody ever asked me to autograph was...
I've never really been asked to autograph weird things.
No. I know someone told me one time they were asked to autograph a prosthetic leg. I thought that was kind of interesting. So,
I've done that. See, I work with therapy, so I see prosthetics and amputees. That's not even weird to me. That's common every day.
Is that right? That's cool.
Yeah, I really haven't been asked weird things.
No?
It's usually T-shirts and photos. Like you said, prosthetics. I see prosthetics all the time, so I don't think that's weird. I really haven't been asked me another question. I really haven't been given any weird things to sign.
That's okay. You know, I'll ask a question that I just got an email from a fan here. It just says JW, so I'm guessing they just go by JW. And JW asks, I've heard that your real name is not Wendi Richter. Is this true or not? Good question, JW.
It's somewhat true.
Okay. Do you want to expand on that, or are you just going to leave it at that, or?
One name isn't my real name.
Okay. And that's...
Half of it's true.
Okay. Half of it's true. All right. Well, I know that when you answer the phone with me, you say another name, and I won't, discuss that if you don't want to. But that's a good question, JW. I appreciate that. I don't know if it's a...
The reason is so people don't, I do have a private life, and to keep it somewhat private, but it's not, I'm not ashamed of it. But
no, that's cool.
There's a reason for it.
Understood. And you have every right to say that or feel that or whatever else. So that's great. I'm glad JW asked that. It's always good to get questions and stuff like that. So thank you for that one. And, Wendy, I tell you what, I had a great time today. I'm really happy that we had a chance to get you on the phone. You're a very sincere and unique and honest person. I really enjoyed your answers. I enjoyed your enthusiasm and love for the business that you once were in. And I also love that you are enjoying your life now with your degree and with your horses and what you love to do. And you've had a blessed life in a lot of ways, being very athletically gifted and, in the sport of wrestling as well and whatever else. So it was a real honor to have you on today. I really appreciated it.
The pleasure was mine. Thank you so much for thinking of me.
Oh, you're welcome.
And it's so good. I really enjoyed wrestling, and I still want to be a little involved with wrestling because I came from that, and I still have it in my blood. I'll put it that way. So it's good to be involved.
Good. Well, that's good to hear. I mean, I know a lot of people have said over the years that they've soured on the business, that they want nothing else to do with it. They're done with it and everything else. And if I guess anybody had a reason to be like that, it would be you, based on what happened to you back in the day. But I like how you said, hey, you know what? It was a point in my life. I've moved on. I'm not going to sit here and, press people down with my thumbs and say, I'm this or I'm that or I'm bitter.
Wrestling. I made more money than I did with the WWE. So I made more money when I left there. So I
Did you?
I can't say I made more money with them. I made more money. I've always made more money than I. That's the least I ever made that time in my life. It sounds hard to believe, but it's true. So I moved on.
Yeah. Well, you went to
I
the
think that's what life is about. It's not what happens to you; it's what you do about it.
Right. Well, yeah, you wrestled the WWC, the World Wrestling Council in Puerto Rico, the AWA against Medusa. I mean, there's been a lot of other places that you had your niche in, and then I think maybe one of these days we'll have you back on. We can talk more about those as well, away from the WWE, and maybe have another good conversation. How does that sound?
It sounds like fun.
Cool. Well, good. I'm glad that we had a chance to talk today, Wendi. We had a nice time back in 2012 with the CAC, and
we'll have to do that again.
Yes, you got to get on down there. You know, it's every year. It's going to be in April this year. April, I think, the 15th to the 17th, I do believe.
Do you go there every year?
I do go there every year. Yeah. I've been going 5 years now, so I enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. And I would love to have you come on out there. It would be great. I know people would love to see you, especially being someone who won an award, a Lifetime Achievement Award, just 2 years ago. It would be great to have our former winners come back and represent the CAC in a great way, and we'd love to have you come on back. I can speak for everybody involved in the CAC. Would love to have you back.
Well, I may work on that. If some of the other girls from my era came, it would be nice visiting with them.
Yeah. Well, Robin tries to come when she can. I think last year, I should say this year, she told me, we have a lot of nice talks. Robin and I were good friends, and she told me that she had a prior engagement that she could not make it this year, but she said if that didn't happen, she would have been there. So let's push on it. Let's try to work on it here to get you up there in just about 8 months from now and have everybody involved. I would love to have you on there, and I would love to see you once again.
Okay.
All right. Wendi, God bless you, honey, and you take good care, and thanks again for being a part of our show.
God bless you and everyone out there.
Sounds good. Thank you, Wendi. Take good care.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. There you go. Wendi Richter, former WWE Ladies Champion, 1985. The war to settle I still can't say it. The war to settle the score. God, that was such a tongue twister. But good to have her on there. Was glad to hear her answers and her comments about everything. And obviously, it was a great time to speak with her. And we got to get going here because we're past the 6 o'clock mark, and we're going to move on. I've got plans for the night. Looks like Joe just jumped in. You want to get on? Joe, what number is that? Number 4? Okay. Quattro here. Let's see. We got. All right, Joe. Talk.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, there you are. How you doing, Joe?
Good. Just thought I'd stop in and say hello.
Yes, Joe Carrero. All right, let me get rid of this graphic up here so we can get you on the air here. This is Joe Carrero, the CEO and owner of KQCK Radio. There's his beautiful mug. Look at that. Yes,
beautiful mug. Thank you.
I think I've seen better faces in the post office. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. I love looking at you. Anyway,
hey, how you liking the new camera? Did you check it out?
This is nice. You know, I'm gonna tell you right now. Everybody who's out there watching us right now, each and every week, and whatever else, this radio station is tremendous. I've always bragged on KQCK. I always remember the first time I came in here, and I was driving down the road. I'm going, "There's a radio station out here." I mean,
right?
Because it's such a people don't realize if you don't live in Arizona, it's a very farm-friendly type of state. There's a lot of open areas. There's a lot of other things out there. And when I came out here, it was kind of like the middle of nowhere. I'm going, that's the radio station. When you open up that door, boom! It's just awesome, just tremendous.
Man, I'll tell you what. I think the camera's putting about 50 pounds on me here.
No, you've lost, 100 and something pounds already. So.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Wow. We had a great interview there with Wendi Richter. I hope you get a chance to listen to it.
I checked it out. I was listening. Fantastic.
Yeah, she's great.
I always like your show, Brian.
Well, thank you. I'm glad that we do our show. And, there's a lot of great things coming our way here at KQCK, and we're going to be moving on and moving forward and doing a lot of great things. And we put a lot of work into it, haven't we? We've done a lot of stuff
We
here.
have. And, the high def, I'm just getting so many fantastic compliments on.
Tremendous.
I mean, you got to bring in your props, man. Make it happen. Bring in your.
Well, we got the pictures on the wall back there, and it'd be nice if we can get those closer. But I know that's kind of not going to happen. But I got some other things I want to start doing, and I've got to actually order some things. I've got some ideas. I got some ideas.
Nice.
And, we're gonna make it more wrestling friendly here inside the studio. But always a good time, obviously, right here every Thursday, and. We're going to have a great show next week. I'm going to go back in time again, bring back one of our special guests that we haven't had on the show before. I'm not going to tell you who it is.
Oh, come on.
No.
Wow.
You know the reason why?
I don't.
Because if they back out, then I look like an idiot.
Yeah, right.
Hey, you're supposed to have so-and-so, and now you. But no, that happens sometimes. But I want to thank Doug McDonald from WrestlingRumors.net. He was tremendous as always. We always appreciate that. If you're on Facebook and you want great professional wrestling stuff in your news feed, each and every time there's a late-breaking story, just go to WrestlingRumors.net, or just go find it on Facebook and get that into your news feed. He's tremendous. Has a lot of great people on there as well. Frank Manzo from WrestleReaction.net. I also want to thank Wendi Richter, former WWE Ladies Champion back in the day. She's enjoying her life, and she's moving on, and she's doing great things out there for people and for horses and for everybody else, and it was great to hear her voice. I always appreciate that. And I want to thank you out there, all the wrestling fans who tune in to us each and every week and spread the word. Please everybody know that we're on here each and every Thursday. And without that, I'm going to go home and eat some food, watch some TV, and hang out with the wife and kids.
Nice.
Sounds like you got plans too there, huh? Anything going on?
You know what? I'm heading down to get some water.
Yeah?
Get some, living in the desert here, you've got to really keep on that water.
You go up to South Phoenix, there's a ton of it in the roads.
Right.
So.
You know what? I found a couple of good puddles. As long as the cows aren't hanging around there, man, I'll tell you what, I could scoop it out and get most of the debris out at the same time.
I don't know, man. Some of that cow water is pretty damn tasty.
It's not bad. I think it's the electrolytes.
It's not good. It's not bad. I'll tell you right now. So anyway, we're gonna get out of here. So anyway, everybody, thanks again for tuning in. We'll talk to you next time. On behalf of Joe C. right here from KQCK Radio, Brian Shank with you on good old KQCK Radio, and don't forget all the great music that we have on here, 24/7 streaming with some of the great tunes. And we play stuff like the Rolling Stones and Leonard Skinner and Fleetwood Mac and the Eagles and Loverboy, 38 Special. I mean, we go back to the 60s, 70s, the 80s, the 90s. Some of the greatest music is played right here on KQCK. So if you have a computer and you don't want to go fudge around with satellite and stuff, put it on KQCK, let it play. Very few interruptions there with stuff. I mean, we have to pay our bills and put our things on there. But if you want continuous music, a great mix, as it says on the board over there, eclectic mix of 60s, 90s music, you go to KQCK.com. It's always there for
And you guys keep posting. We've got some concert tickets we'll be giving away. Lots of great stuff coming up. It's some big announcements, but we can't let any cats out of any bags today.
I hear you.
Some big announcements coming up, though, guys.
Big announcements.
More music, 24 hours a day.
Didn't mean to push that, but
that's okay. I never heard